I'm Sumana Harihareswara, and I'm a keynote speaker at PyCon US 2024. Almost 20 years ago, as I was getting started contributing to open source software, I was already using it, but I wanted to contribute. I had a great experience with an open source software project that was written in Python. I was testing, I was performing quality assurance, and it was just such a welcoming experience where there were really clear instructions about how to get started. And then when I needed some more resources in order to continue to do my work, I got those resources. And that made an impression on me. That experience was one of the ones that gave me a bit of a glimpse of how, in general, we as people who work in Python try to treat each other. Going to PyCon is often fun, often informative, but it also made a huge, huge difference in just the course of my professional life, specifically because of the sprints at PyCon North America 2015. And I thought, okay, we're going to get together for these sprints, this hack week in Montreal, and we're all going to work together, and I'll be, typey with lots of improving the code. And I got there and I saw that what we really needed was release management. If all of them were able to focus on the things that they already had a lot of skill at so that they could get that bug fixed, get that feature finished, get the code reviewed, and so on, then we would get the next release out, something that we'd been trying to do for about 10 years. And so that's what I worked on. I grabbed a big giant post-it note and markers, and that's what I concentrated on for the next few days, was understanding what was blocking people and helping fix those things, recruiting users from other tables to get them to come do quick user experience tests, writing first drafts of the release notes and things like that. And I was between jobs at that time, and coming out of that experience, I thought, expediting the releases of open source projects that have gotten stuck a little bit. I wonder if this is something that I could turn into a business. And indeed, later that year, I started the consultancy, Change Set Consulting, which is still my main professional focus, where I focus on short-term targeted project management to help get open source projects unstuck. And I've actually widened that as well to add trainings and coaching to help maintainers learn those skills to help their projects get unstuck. And I feel like I can really trace a lot of the impetus for that to that particular sprint at PyCon 2015. Earlier this year, I was having a chat with a friend in her office, and she works in a library, and she had to take a moment to check something. So I looked at my phone for a moment, and that's when I saw the email from the chair of PyCon US 2024 asking me to be one of this year's keynote speakers. I leapt out of my chair, screaming and punching the air with glee at what an amazing honor this was. And then about 5 seconds later, remembered that I was in a library. So I'm pretty embarrassed about that. I was even more embarrassed when a colleague asked my friend 10 minutes later, "Hey, did you hear that?" They were worried that it was perhaps an angry patron or something. So I combined an entire lifetime's worth of accidental disrespect to the sacred institution of the public library into one moment. So now I've used up all of the rudeness I can ever have in a library in about 10 seconds. I can never have any again, because that's how excited that I was to find out that I was going to be one of your keynote speakers. A thing that I really appreciate about how organizers structure PyCon US is they set up, all right, here's what the talks, the tutorials, the posters, and some other events are, and they accept those ahead of time. But they also make it possible for other people to create sub-events that are going to happen at PyCon US. Some people are setting up entire mini conferences or half days or things like that that come through the Hatchery program. And those are different every time. Every PyCon US is different because different people organize different things through Hatchery. And there are many, many sessions all through the 3 main talk days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that are each about 1 hour long through the open spaces. If you've heard of unconferences, it's sort of like that. So every PyCon US has a very different array of what people get together to talk about, learn from each other, see demonstrations of, and things like that. This year, 2024, is the 20th anniversary of a popular tool called Beautiful Soup that you might have heard of, that a lot of people use for screen scraping, for grabbing information from web pages and then being able to process that and use it in their own applications. And it was written by my spouse, Leonard Richardson, and he's going to be coming this year so that we can have some kind of an event to celebrate the 20th anniversary. And people can talk about, oh, here's what I've done with Beautiful Soup, and here's how it's changed my career, my life, and stuff like that. Here are 3 things I want you to know about the keynote that I'll be giving you. One is that it's going to be special to be there in person. I'm going to be doing some stuff that's a little unusual for a person giving a speech at a tech conference, so that if you're physically there, you're going to have a more interesting experience than people who are watching a video later at home. Another is, I spent several years working on the infrastructure that a lot of people don't even know exists, yet depend on every day when it comes to Python package distribution, publication, and download. I was a project manager for PyPI, the Python Package Index, when we did a big overhaul. And then I was the project manager for pip, which a lot of you probably use to download and install packages, when we put that through a big overhaul. And I'll be sharing some behind the scenes stories about how all that happened and what I learned from it. And the third thing I want to share is I do stand-up comedy and theater. This is not going to be just a talk that could have been a blog post. This is, I take it seriously, my responsibility to educate and entertain if you're sitting in front of me for 40 minutes. So that's something to expect. Thanks for your time. And I hope to meet you at PyCon US.